All right. Welcome back to All Cars, y'all. If you are new here, my name is John, and it is time for another Motorweek Retro Review Reaction. This week, it is the absolutely not exciting 1997 Lexus ES300. I felt I had to do this one, and luckily it came up pretty recently. The ES is admittedly a car I've never loved. Some of that is styling, some of it is I was one of those nimrods that just said, it's a Toyota. But as I've gotten older and as I've watched this model, the more I appreciate what it offers and how it's different than the Germans. And so here we've got a 97. I thought we'd go back and see what Motorweek said when it was brand spanking new. And before I forget, as always, grab your beverage of choice. We've got some caffeinated today, brought to you by whatever was in the cabinet, and sit in your comfy chair. Let's take a trip back in time to 97.
Motorweek is made possible by Auto Value and Bumper to Bumper and TireRack.com.
Top-line luxury cars have become an important market segment for Japanese automakers, not just for the profit, but for the prestige of parking their products in the best upscale driveways. But it's the less expensive and more popular near-luxury models that really bring home the bacon. In the Lexus stable, that means the ES300 sedan, a machine that's already at the head of its class, and for 97 gets refinements designed to keep it there.
Okay, so before they run onto anything, this is a 5-minute one, so hopefully they will spend a little bit of time browsing. I'm not sure if we're going to see more of the exterior, so I want to talk about this. I didn't love it. When it was new, I didn't love it. It screams Camry to me. They didn't do a lot to make it look substantially different, especially at the front end. And that's where it really starts to bother me. And I think when people look at Mercedes or BMW or Audi, right, this comes across dowdy. And that's kind of the reputation it got, of just being a softer, not sporty necessarily car. I do like the two-tone here. I kind of miss that we used to have more two-tone, more interesting paint colors. But overall, it's not exciting, but not offensive. And I hate to say it, I think that it ended up aging very well because it wasn't trendy at all.
And what are those refinements, you ask? Well, the 97 Lexus ES300, in no particular order, is longer, lighter, safer, roomier, handles better, more powerful, quieter, and less expensive. Now that's refinement. The Camry-based near-luxury sedan also undergoes a mild restyle, keeping with the preference of upscale car owners for gradual appearance changes. Up front, the hood is more sculpted. There's a new full-width straked air dam, 5-mile-per-hour bumpers, and the sharp-edged headlights now have clear glass reflectors. The front drive wheelbase grows 2 inches to 105.1, with overall length increasing 2.4 inches. The windshield was pulled 3 inches forward and given a steeper rake. Out back, the rear quarters grow taller for a more muscular, broad-shouldered look. Overall drag coefficient drops from 0.32 to 0.29.
Before let me go back just a little bit here. Again, I do like it in this darker color. I like this quite a lot, actually. The front, they said the hood was sculpted. Come on, no, Toyota. You put very little effort into that hood, in my opinion. And again, overall, the front of it just screams, this was a Camry, and we're not putting a lot of effort into it. The rest of it, I think it's okay. It doesn't look as sporty, purposeful, stylish as, say, the German marks. But overall, it comes across boring handsome. I guess that's probably the best way to put it. It's not ugly. It's not even homely. It's just kind of fine. I do like the rear end here. I do like the tail light treatment. Taken in just a snapshot, it does give off a little bit of LS vibes. Not a ton. And again, I I think that today, looking back, this is a style that has aged very nicely. Not earth-shattering, not classic, not, oh my gosh, I want a 25-year-old Lexus, but handsome. Handsome overall, just, you know, the kind of car you drive when you want to be anonymous, you want to have something a little bit nicer, but you don't want to scream, look at how much money I have, but you're also not embarrassed to drive it to whatever country club they're at right here.
0.29. Even the silky twin-cam 3-liter 24-valve V6 is more muscular. A host of internal improvements and a muffler that automatically reduces back pressure adds 12 horsepower for a cool 200 and pushes torque to 214 pound-feet.
I've got no problem with this engine. I mean, most Toyota engines are, let's say, unexciting, but competitive and, of course, reliable. It is interesting. I did the Chevy S10 retro review reaction recently. That had a 4.3 liter that only made, I think it was 180 horsepower. So this is pretty impressive. Of course, that engine made tons more torque than this does. But smooth engine, if, again, largely unexciting because it was used in the Camry.
Throttle and brake traction control is standard. Driven for total performance, the all-aluminum V6 pulled our ES300 from 0 to 60 in a flashy 7.9 seconds. Impressive for a 3,300-pound sedan, as is a 16-second flat quarter-mile time. Trap speed was 89 miles per hour. Expectedly, the strength came in the upper ranges of the rev band. The remarkably smooth shifting 4-speed automatic transmission now also adjusts shift programs for you, depending on how aggressively the ES300 is driven.
You know, those numbers are fine. I mean, honestly, compared to some of the other cars I've been watching recently for these reviews, that's pretty impressive. Not sports sedan, not like, wow, it's an M series, but that's fine. I would like to say, I'm going to go back just a little bit here so I can show it on the screen. That transmission, how did anybody in the styling department look at this and say, yes, we want a boring rectangle with sans serif letters with a rectangle, and then we're going to make the shaft coming out of the console a rectangle and put a big baby's fist on top of it. Again, it's not hideous, it's not ugly, it's not, I would not buy the car because of it, but this area right here does not scream luxury to me. It screams, hey, we just slapped some leather on stuff.
Depending on how aggressively the ES300 is driven. To the standard strut suspension, our car added the adaptive variable suspension option. AVS monitors road, braking, and steering inputs, then selects one of 16 shock damping rates based on the driver's comfort setting. Combined with a 30% stiffer chassis and variable effort steering that is nicely weighted at all engine speeds, the new ES300 breezes through our handling course. Select comfort and you feel a good amount of luxury car roll and sway. But switching to the sports setting adds some bump harshness and near sports sedan prowess. The 65 Series 15-inch touring tires reach their limit long before the chassis. Behind the cast rims are...
You know, two comments there before we see the braking results. The first is, I like their wording, near sport sedan handling. It's not a sport sedan, it's front wheel drive. They're not pretending it's a sport sedan, but they can still give it some competency. But I think most people would probably leave it in the comfort setting. But still, through the slalom, very, very neat and tidy all the way through. Nice result. Really, really nice buttoned down car. I'm kind of impressed. The second thing I wanted to say there was 15-inch tires. How silly does that sound to us when cars now have 18 or 19-inch? And I honestly, although the styling is going to be tough to figure out, I do foresee a move to smaller tires, smaller wheels coming in the future. They have lower rolling resistance, they have more sidewall, they give better rides, and with the move to EVs, getting the maximum amount of efficiency out of what are very expensive batteries, having smaller wheels and tires pays off rather dramatically in your range. And because everything's so heavy, Tesla's kind of famous for not having a great ride, well, thicker sidewall would help take care of that. File that away in the back of your head, because I predict something there.
Four-wheel disc brakes with standard anti-lock. They brought our car to a halt in a good average distance of 126 feet. We can describe our lows.
Before they go on, decent, not exceptional, but a decent result on the braking. Nice and straight and controlled if the distance was fine.
64 decibel sound reading in one word: silent. EPA mileage ratings are 19 city and 26 highway. We averaged a real-world 22 miles per gallon. The luxurious interior dons high-quality fabrics, including judicious use of real walnut wood trim. And on our test car, supple leather seats, a whopping $1,650 option, which we have to admit we really like. They are large, comfortable, and supportive. 8-way power adjustments plus lumbar are standard. The leather package adds a 2-position memory, too. The new instrument panel now features vacuum fluorescent gauges similar to the flagship LS400. There's an all-new audio system for 97 with 7 speakers and 195 watts of power. In-dash cassette is standard. Optional is a 6 CD changer that, also like the LS400, hides above a glove box that's still larger than before. So is this center console armrest that provides 2-tier covered storage. There's more rear seat room too, but headroom is still tight. A center armrest that covers a small pass-through to the trunk and a pair of cup holders. The smaller 13 cubic...
Before they go into the trunk, I want to be critical of this interior. I really do. It's specifically when they say, a judicious use of wood, but then you can't actually see any. It's just all down there in the middle. And it's a weakness and a strength of most of the Japanese manufacturers that they don't do dash luxury. This high quality, well designed, no seams. This is a high quality looking plastic dash, and I have absolutely no problem with it. The gauges are clear, the center cluster looks fine, the ergonomics look fine. Some of the buttons, maybe those for the radio, look kind of small, but a well designed dash overall. The two-tier center armrest for storing things. Everything is just the excellence that was the 90s Japanese manufacturers. I wish that there was some wood, something, even on the doors to add a little more pizzazz to it. But there's nothing about this that's offensive. Rear seat is good. The cup holders are kind of silly, but at least it had some. I've got no problem with this interior. I think the gear shifter is a little ugly. That's me personally, but the rest of it looks just fine.
Cubic foot trunk looks larger than it is, but it is still wide and deep with easy loading. And for $97, it's easier to own this entry-level Lexus, where the ES300's base price drops about $2,000 to $30,395. Our car's leather, CD changer, moonroof, and adaptive suspension took the sticker to $34,695. For a Lexus with more features and more refinement, that's a bargain. It looks like the near luxury sedan class just got a new leader with the same name.
Really good review, really solid, and very, very understated. And I think that's their way of saying just how good the car really is. They're not killing it with faint praise. I just feel like they're kind of downplaying how good it really, really is. That price, it's hard to beat. A better designed, more safe, super quiet. That's impressive. For less money, impressive car, honestly. So the Lexus today starts at something like $43,000, $13,000 in 20 some odd years. They've done a nice job holding the price of this down. I don't know. I don't know what to say. At the time when it was new, fancy Camry. It really didn't interest me. But certainly looking back on it, the styling is inoffensive, if not exciting. It's not. The interior is fine, wonderful, high quality. The engine is wonderful, high quality. It's everything that's not a BMW or an Audi or a Mercedes. It's a slightly different creature. It is nicer Toyota, but I think it's worth the premium for everything it does so incredibly well. I look back and I find this to be a very, very desirable car, and I understand why people bought it when you've got Cadillac, Lincoln, Infiniti, and plus the German brands, and maybe a couple of Jaguars out there as well. This is a very impressive car and understated, and honestly, I love it. Let me know what you think below, guys. Thanks for being here.